Andrew, great to see you again, my friend.
Good to
As
see you too.
as we're cruising through the heroes of France, we have recently just tasted our Sancerre. Now we're going into our wine number two, which is a Puy-Fusé, a Burgundy from the Macon region from Robert Denogent. And we will bring Andrew back in from Kermit Lynch because guess what? They import this beauty as well. And this, I fell in love with this wine, Andrew. We took a pretty big position recently on the last 2007 17 cases. I love this wine with just a little bit of age, and it's performing like a rock star. Can you tell us all about it?
Yeah, it's a personal favorite of mine. Yeah, they like to sit on their wines a little bit. So, there aren't many 22s, 21s being they sit in barrel and then they sit in bottle. So it's a huge plus for when they finally get out onto the market. They're in a great drinking window right now. But yeah, we'll travel down to the Macanais, and this is in Puy-Fusé. Sure, most everyone here has heard of that pocket of the Macanais. Macanais is really big, and we're pretty far south when it comes to Burgundy. We're basically on the border of Beaujolais. Beaujolais is just over the hills. So that means it also shares some of the similar terroir of having limestone, but also a little granite. But this is an area that gets a lot warmer than the rest of Burgundy. The terrain looks a little different. Even the houses look a little different. It's more Mediterranean influenced, even though we're not quite there yet. We still have to get through the Rhone when traveling, but it is a lot warmer. So these wines tend to be they're more full, they're richer wines, which then kind of brings us back to sort of Meursault and Puigny areas. These are wines, the Denogent wines are very considered some of the best in all the Macanais, certainly in Puy-Fusé. And often when you drink these wines blind, it's very common for people to think they're drinking Meursault or Puigny. Yeah, the Robert Denogent inherited these vines from his grandfather, or the original vines, about 5 hectares. He was a law student and then decided to just jump to farming and winemaking, and then it was befriended Kermit Lynch, who took him on and recognized the quality, and Marcel Lapierre became a mentor and really helped guide his hand into upping his game and farming and making just quality wines. And it's really paid off because he's really built a reputation over time as being one of the best, if not the best, in this area. Yeah, I mentioned he's now farming biodynamically. This is not a wine you necessarily think of as a natural wine, but you could call it that. But he's just, he's like so many farmers and wine growers in Europe that you find who they just have forever wanted to make responsibly produced, responsibly farmed wines, and they know that the less you do to the ground and the more you treat it with respect, the better the wines come out. But they do. There's a little bit of new French oak on this. They typically let it sit in barrel for about 2 winters, and then they bottle it. This is from a specific vineyard called Croix. That's pretty special. And what's also special about this wine is that these come from 80-year-old vines. So they're about 1 year younger than Kermit Lynch himself, who turned 81 this year. So pretty old vines, pretty special vines that go into this.
That's cool. Yeah, storied producer, very well reviewed, and but not a large producer. How many total cases these guys make? Do you know?
Just around 4,000 cases.
Okay, so teeny.
So yeah, it's this whole region carries tremendous value in Burgundy, especially these days as the prices get higher and higher and the demand has skyrocketed more than usual. As you drink this wine you think to Meursault and Puigny and Chardonnay, Montrachet, and some of those, you know, this price that you have it at is a pretty great value, compared to those wines that are now 150 at minimum, 200, 250.
Note that the 17 vintage is something I really enjoyed, so I took a pretty good position on it. I could be selling a fresher, younger vintage, but I like what happens with a cup, especially in this with this producer, a couple of years in the bottle, and it really starts to take shape. I have I don't know, maybe 4 cases of this wine remaining, so it's not a lot, but it's a pretty big position for me at this price point. And I did that with this event in mind. And the fact that you have a 17, almost every other winery that I'm talking to, they're receiving their 2022s.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have something with some complexity, some development, this is what you want in a good French wine. And I think it's going to be a shining star tonight in our tasting.
Yeah, 100%.